Hi, my name is Ben West. I work for the Wilderness Committee. First of all, I just want to thank the Chamber for... Sure. Here, I'll stand up. My name's Ben. I work for the Wilderness Committee. I'm a campaigner working on this issue, and I just, first of all, want to thank the Chamber for organizing this. I think it's great to have an opportunity to talk directly to the CEO of a company who's, or president, I should say, who's working on such a huge project. And I want to thank you for coming here and being part of this conversation. My take on this is that, Ian, you seem like a real nice, sincere guy, a Canadian representing a big American company, here in Canada. And, I just frankly think that you're kind of on the wrong side of history. You might have the best of intentions, but, the CEO of Enbridge recently said that there's basically a revolution happening against this kind of energy. And I think that's happening for good reason. Climate change is the biggest concern internationally. It's the single biggest threat facing humanity today, according to the United Nations. Of course, we're not going to get off oil tomorrow, but when we're talking about trajectories, obviously pipelines like this lead us in the direction of more and more oil consumption, not less and less oil consumption on an international basis. We could go back and forth about climate change, but given that we're here at the Chamber of Commerce, I want to just kind of get to sort of similar to Ingrid's point. When we're talking about even just the economic benefits for Canada, Robin Allen, the former CEO of ICBC, has recently done some work talking about, Dutch disease, this idea that the more we export raw resources, the more dependent on that kind of export we are, and it actually drives up the value of the Canadian dollar and hurts manufacturing jobs. And we've heard similar things from the Premier of Ontario. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts on that are. I figure for an audience like the Chamber, it's worth talking about sort of what this really means to the Canadian economy.
Yeah, it's a tough question for me to answer, only because, Ben, I'm not an economist who's looking at that on a daily basis. There are many factors that are going to affect the value of the dollar. Productivity of our workforce, markets we can access, quality of our products, etc. And to singularly attach oil development with the value of the dollar, obviously we've seen a connection recently as oil price changes, the value of the dollar's changed. But I don't know that a strong dollar for an economy like Canada is a bad thing. I don't know that a strong dollar on an international stage is a bad thing for us to have. I think, frankly, it's something we should be proud of. And I think that it's something that gets us working on the productivity aspects of our society that much harder. So whether or not the two are connected long-term on a macro scale, I'm not sure. There's been indications of movements similarly in the marketplace, but again, I don't think a strong dollar is a bad thing. And you're hearing Carney say that recently, that a strong dollar is a good thing, and the Canadians should suck it up and get competitive with the rest of the world. Yeah. What I do think, Ben, is that we're a nation that is bestowed with natural resources, whether it's lumber or it's potash or it's sulfur or it's oil or it's natural gas or whatever it is. And I think that beliefs one has around greenhouse gases and the contribution of the oil sands to that and the contribution of Canada on a global scale to that can all be had. We're not going to change our reliance on fossil fuels this generation. We're going to be consuming fossil fuels for decades to come. And it's my personal belief is that you take advantage of the natural resource endowment that you have in order to better the future and invest in the future. And what that requires, I take, is a conscious investment of the riches of today towards the technologies of tomorrow. And there has to be a commitment by all levels of government and business to do that. And I believe that entirely. For example, the carbon tax in British Columbia, when it was instituted, I was all in favor of the carbon tax. I was not in favor of it being offset and being tax neutral. I think that money should have been invested incrementally into enhancements to the clean tech community in British Columbia, for example. So I think there's a price to be paid for that future, and I think our natural resources give us that opportunity to pay for it.